Fantastic. Good morning, everybody. Yay! And welcome. This takes like a lot of guts to get out in the morning in Delhi. And a friend of mine said that it's not even that cold. And I was like, okay. So, firstly, thank you so much for those of you that made it live here in person. It's a totally different experience when we get to see people. And I was just telling people that it's so good to see you all after so long, like a lot of familiar faces and a lot of new faces. We are all gathered here to meet Dr. Adila Hafiz. Now, Dr. Adila has been someone who has over the years been a very special person in my life with all the contribution and everything that she has very generously added to me and the thousands of people that she works with across the world. She is a trained chiropractor. She practiced as a chiropractor for very many years, and she's someone who works with integrating mind, energy, and healing in a way that is so rare today. I haven't come across practitioners of this quality, and I'm very, very proud to introduce her to all of you. This morning, we have a wonderful book that came out as a result of the COVID times and us pestering her for a very long time. A beautiful book called The Body Whispering Playbook, which is just a glimpse and more into the world of body whispering if you've attended her classes in the Life Whispering Institute and what Dr. Adila can contribute to you. So I'm going to hand over the mic to her and have her do the show. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And as Datu said, like, we appreciate everyone that's here in the room, everyone that's online. We have this book launch and we have a nice amount of time. It's not a huge amount of time. So for that reason, I actually want to get straight into the work, into what you can get out of this body of work, the playbook itself. And so if you would allow me to just take you on a very short exercise straight away so that our bodies can start to relax, because as Datu said, it's really important when we do any sort of healing work, transformation work, self-development work, we can't just work at one level of mind or body or energy. And so, you know, you can do all of the energetic work you want. If your body's in a physiological state of stress or fight or flight, your nervous system is, you know, haywire, you're not going to feel like you are healing, because in fact, it's very hard for your body to believe that it is safe to heal. And so everything that I do, the fundamentals of it comes down to how you can really understand this integration piece. And that's what most of these exercises are about. As you work through the playbook, there are journaling prompts to help you at a cognitive and to get the subconscious to your conscious. There are breathing exercises to calm down your nervous system. And there are energetic like expansion exercises to always remind you that you are this greater being, the spiritual being having a physical experience here on earth. So that is the point of the playbook. And so before I go in any further, let's everyone, including those of you online, wherever you are, if you can just take a really nice deep breath in for me. Allow yourself to expand out. And as you breathe out, just completely relax into your chair, into your whatever you're doing, sitting, standing, lying. Just want you to feel present. And again, as you take a deep breath in, just allow your energy to expand, your sense of awareness and space to expand. And as you breathe out, I just want you to remind yourself that actually in this moment, you are safe, you are okay. And that whatever it is that you can and you are ready to receive for yourself, for your body, for your mind from the next little while we have together, let's see what is possible for your body, your mind, your energy to take you to an even more connected space. And just as we finish up, I'd now want you to just have a little bit of movement, anywhere where you have some stiffness, anywhere where you've been stuck, anywhere where you maybe have come here with a lot of jelly traffic. I don't know, but let's just loosen up our bodies. Okay. So I want to talk about this component of healing. This is what people are asking me about the most right now. How do I create the change I want, the life I want? How do I see the results I want in my life when it doesn't feel like it's happening and when I'm in a state of stress around it? And with body whispering, what happens is it's all about listening to the whispers of your awareness, your intuition, and creating your life and remembering that connection. You are this divine spiritual being. We can cope with everything life throws at us, okay? But does it always feel that way? No. And what happens is when we go into a state of stress, we go into survival mode, we cut off our awareness of the whispers. We stop being aware of the whispers. We stop listening to our gut instinct. We stop following anything that's actually going to create the results we want. We actually go into survival mode. We go into seeing what the problem is and reinforcing the problem because we're focusing on the problem rather than the whispers of possibility. So today I thought it'd be really nice to work through the workbook a little bit, the playbook, and play with a few exercises so that you can see whether you are a very experienced practitioner or body worker, or you're completely new to this field. When we get stressed, this happens to all of us. No matter how good you are, no matter how many years you've been doing self-healing or self-development work, when you go into a state of stress, you actually start to forget to listen to your own self and to be aware of everything that's available to you in that moment. So, this is the book. It's very exciting to have a physical copy in my hand, and I'm going to tell you which page you can find this exercise on. There's actually so many in here I want to do today, but I want to go to the congruence exercise, and I'm just trying to find where it is. And actually, before we go into that, there is a page of affirmations in the book that I think are just really lovely. And it would be really nice if you have a look through these. So it starts with, I am safe. I am worthy. I am good enough. It is safe to be me. It's safe to heal. My body is my friend, and I'm always guided by my inner knowing. And so the next exercise we're going to do, which is the congruence exercise, which is right on the next page, is something really pragmatic and practical you can do at any time in your life when you feel like you're working really hard to create an outcome and the outcome is not being created. Okay, so it's the congruence exercise. Congruence is a huge component of body whispering. It's a huge component of creating in your life. When we talk about congruence, congruence means what you think, what you say, what you feel, what you do are all in alignment. The piece I like to add in is you're also in spiritual alignment, as well as practical and physical alignment. So where the lack of congruence comes in is when you feel like you're working really hard towards a certain outcome, you're doing everything, thinking about it all the time, you're wondering why it's not being created. This exercise helps you identify a lack of congruence energetically, or you're energetically congruent, you're emotionally congruent, your mind is congruent, but you're doing no physical steps to create the outcome. You're trying to manifest out of thin air with no practical component. Now, we are physical bodies with a very physical being presence. To create the things you want in your life, you have to create in the physical plane. I know many of you are very well established and successful energetically, but you want to bring that into your experience of being here on earth. So the congruence exercise. If you are working towards an outcome while being in physical, mental, and energetic harmony, you're going to have those results show up quite quickly. And we're going to go into this a lot more in the masterclass that's following this book launch. Use the exercise below to determine if one of these elements are not in alignment or harmony with the outcome you wish to create. So if you've got the book, if you want to do this at home, there's a blank page next to you so you can write notes. But I want you all to think of something you're trying to create or something you've been hoping for or wishing for in recent times. It could be business related, relationship related, health related. So what is the thing? Like, can you think about what it is quite clearly? What is it that you desire? And now I'm going to ask you to take a minute to see if you tap into that thought, that thing being created. What is your mental or cognitive experience saying to you? What are you really thinking? What are you believing? Is your self-talk around creating it very positive? Is it very negative? Do you think it's not going to happen? Do you think it's going to take a long time? Do you think your parents would never be, allow you to do that? Whatever it is, what are your mental considerations? What are your cognitive considerations about the thing you're trying to create? So a lot of people want to create a lot of money in their business. A lot of people say, I want to create $1 million. But $1 million is so much money, they can't actually even think or imagine having that much money. And so there's an incongruence there. So what is it that you actually think about the outcome you're trying to create? And the more you sit with this when you're journaling, when you're using the playbook, you will allow those deeper layers, that more subconscious type of conditioning to start to come up. Yes, I'm super positive about this on the surface, but actually deep down, since I was 5, I never believed I could be independent. Since I was 7, I'm scared of not being loved. So what do you really believe about the thing you're trying to create or receive or achieve? Any questions about that one? Okay.
So while it's negative in thinking, and you need, as you rightly said, physical efforts to move towards that goal, it's still not happening.
Yeah. So if you identify negative points of view, thoughts, beliefs, here's the thing, the congruence exercise works because it brings unconscious or your unaware things into your zone of awareness. So people are like, okay, what do I do once I identify this incongruence? Well, you're more than halfway there to actually changing something as soon as you become aware of it. What is happening when we don't create results is our lack of awareness on that topic. It is our blind spot. So if you have been working really hard to create something, and then you realize, oh my gosh, I actually don't believe that this is possible for me, or I don't think this is a good idea deep down. The fact that you suddenly become aware of that limiting belief is going to give you a lot of information about what you need to do now and where you need to start working. So the next one is physical action. So you all have something that you're working towards creating. What are the practical steps you're taking to create it? And are you really taking those practical steps, or are you half-heartedly taking those practical steps, or are you doing a little bit and saying, I've done my best, or are you basically, how committed are you in the physical plane to creating the thing you say you really want to create? And are you getting out of your comfort zone physically? Are you putting enough time, energy, and effort into creating this thing? Like, where are your blind spots? Like, people all the time, again, I'm going to keep using the money example because it's such a common thing. You know, people want more money, they want more success in business. Okay, cool. So you believe you're energetically congruent with wanting more money, you're cognitively congruent with wanting more money. What are you doing every day? A lot of people are really fooling themselves because they really think they're doing a lot, but they're not. They're not actually doing things that will move the needle. So this is one of my favorite incongruences to become aware of, or incongruences, because you're so powerful. If you actually put all the effort that was available to you into creating something, it's very rare that it wouldn't work or it wouldn't turn up or turn out. But we've also become really lazy, right? We're not doing a lot of the stuff, and we're looking outside of ourselves and saying, how come that person has it, or that person can do it, or that person's getting it? Well, we're not seeing, what you're not seeing is what that person's getting up and actually doing every day to create those results. Any questions about the practical? Okay, the last piece is the energetic piece, the alignment piece. This is where I get you to close your eyes. I want you to tap into that possibility or that ask that you have. And I would like you to really ask the whispers to show you now how truly expansive this is, how congruent you are, or maybe where you are actually incongruent energetically with your ask. Right now, is it feeling expansive? Is it feeling possible? Is it feeling really available to you? Or is that energy showing you that in your body, you don't actually feel safe to create that outcome? Energetically, are you actually feeling contracted or heavy rather than expansive and light? What is the energy of this creation? And where is the interaction of this creation with your energy? How are they interacting? Are you in alignment? Do you feel an alignment, or do you feel a lack of alignment right now? Do you feel like you're trying to convince yourself that this is possible for you? And this is a huge one, right?
You always try to convince yourself that it's possible, but whether it becomes the outcome is never the same.
Well, we always try to, the problem there is the word convince. Like, I can tell you it's possible. Anything you want to create is possible. Okay, but do you actually believe it's possible for you? And this is the congruence exercise, and it's why I love this exercise. I've taken many people through this exercise, whether it's personal coaching or business programs. It's so simple, yet it's so profound. Doesn't it make sense? If you're not in alignment in mind, body, and energy, it's either going to take a really long time or it's not going to happen at all to create what you would like to create. But we see people for months and sometimes years trying to create that thing and wondering why it's not happening. So congruence is a really important piece in body whispering, but it's also a really important piece in your life. And actually, we did a Facebook Live the other day, and Dr. and I were talking about this congruence piece. What it ties into is like honesty with yourself, that self-awareness, and that's like being honest. Okay, I'm saying I really want to create this. Do I really want to create this? Is it really safe for me? Do I really believe it's possible for me? Or am I just saying I want that, or I think I should want it, or I've been saying for years I want it, but I'm not actually doing anything to make it happen? So this is an exercise you can do over and over again on different areas of your life or on the same thing. For example, you might get to a certain level, again, if we're talking about money or business or relationship, and you've created your outcome. And then you go, well, that's great. I've made $1 million. How can I now make 10? You actually do the exercise again, because there's a different shift. There's a difference between $1 million and $10 million. Or it's different to finding a boyfriend and getting congruent with wanting a relationship to then saying, okay, now I want to get married. do you really want to get married? Like, there's a congruence thing to look at if you're wondering why things are not happening as fast as you would like them to happen. Any questions?
What happens when you think of something that you want to create and you still not feel that way for you?
Yeah, great question. What happens when you think of something you want to create and it doesn't feel safe for you to create it? So again, part of the exercises, and they're deceivingly simple, they look deceivingly simple, but when you're journaling in here, when you're writing in here, when you're using that affirmation, I am safe, what happens is when we have a new concept or a new belief or the possibility of something new presented to us, it's often not going to feel safe because it's in the realm of the unknown, which is uncomfortable, which is for our nervous systems and our body, it's unsafe. How you create safety is actually doing this kind of stuff. So there's an energetic component to that. But the second component is time. It's actually exposure. How many of you have done something that was really daunting for you at first? And as over time, as you get used to it, suddenly, okay, it's not so daunting, it's not so scary. Then it becomes completely comfortable for you. And then what do you know? You're actually like interacting with that or doing that thing every day. It's become part of what is now safe for you. But initially, it's going to feel uncomfortable. Uncomfortable or unsafe is not wrong. It's your mechanism of self-preservation. It's how your body and your mind are trying to keep you safe. And this is what I want to just spend a few more minutes talking about before I open the floor to questions. But we have the ability to create anything that we want in our lives. And a lot of you have all of these tools and you've done so much self-help and self-development work. And even like this book, the classes we do, the Body Whispering class coming up, it's designed to make your life better and it's designed to make you really empowered. But again, the work only works if you work it. The work works if you work it. Okay. And so it's not actually about sitting in the class or buying the book or even listening to someone, though you might get a few takeaways. It's actually about working the work. So you know that you have this whisper of possibility or this thing you want to create or the type of life you want to create. The world is not a positive place. The world isn't going to be like, yes, you can do it. Go out there and do whatever you want. Yes, it's totally possible. The world is more doom and gloom. It's more like dampening of your possibility rather than expanding the possibility. Very loud playing. But this is like my life, how it's been created is even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's scary, like you have got to be the person that creates evidence and proof that it's possible for you and you work the work. And then what happens is you start to create a life that people go, how did you do that? How come it was safe for you to do that? How come you have been able to get these results? And it's not because you or I do not have the same level of fear or being worried or thinking it's not safe. It's how willing are you to pursue the whispers that whisper to you? Are you willing to spend more time, energy interacting with possibility and what you would like to create in the world, as opposed to saying, I'm going to play it safe? That is what this reality is going to train you to do, is to play it safe. And as you get frustrated in areas of your life that aren't working for you, like I said earlier, what do you focus on? You focus more on the frustration and what's not working and how it's not working. And the more you focus on that, the more your life doesn't work. And the more this reality will say, see, we told you this is not a good idea. And you can't just do what you want. And you can't create the life you want to create. But that's when you've cut off the possibilities. That's when you've cut off the whispers. And that's when you've cut off your own power. And so this very simple book, the main thing it was created to do was to reconnect you and create that connection and self-awareness, especially during a time when we were all locked down and we had to spend so much time with family or in one place, and maybe you forget how expansive you are, and you get locked into this reality. Okay, so all of the exercises, whether it's affirmations, whether it's the journaling prompts, whether it's the congruence exercise, there's also a meditation that you scan the QR code, it'll come up for you. They're designed to reconnect you in that moment where you've forgotten your power, where you've become disconnected from who you are. Okay, any questions? Yeah, the playbook exercises. Okay, so the question is, do we need to do it in sequence? No, it is a playbook. I encourage you to play with it, and it's been designed to even, like, if you're walking past, flip it open to a page, see what it says, see what the picture is. The pictures have been created with energy so that even if it looks like it's a blank page or you're just looking at a graphic, it's designed to like reconnect you energetically. One of the affirmations in here is, it's allowed to be easy. How many of you grew up with the opposite of that? It's meant to be hard. Nothing comes easy. Okay, so that's what I mean. So yeah, please don't worry about doing it right or doing it in sequence, doing it in order. You just pick up the book whenever you want and you see what the message or the exercise is for you for the day. And the simpler it is, the better. Don't overthink this. Yes?
Yeah, hi. I was just going through the affirmations, and what I'm feeling is, even while reading the affirmations, I'm feeling really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so even like something like, it's safe to be me.
Yeah.
I don't feel that. And it's safe to be, my body is my friend. Okay, I feel that. But there are like, even the thought of it is making me feel that.
Okay, fantastic. So we just had a question in the room. We have a page of affirmations in the playbook. And she's saying, as she reads through the affirmations that I read through earlier, she's really not feeling safe or happy. She doesn't feel like maybe what she's good enough. It's safe to be her. It's safe to heal. And the very first component of that, that's why those affirmations are there. Maybe that's something you've never thought about. Maybe you took it for granted that you feel safe in your body, or that it's safe to be you. You've never questioned that. So if you read an affirmation in this book and you're like, that sounds like a lie, that makes me feel heavy, I don't feel safe, that's fantastic. You have just identified a core incongruence with your ability to express yourself to your fullest here in your life. If you don't feel like it's safe to be you, isn't that a good place to start? So it's not, nothing is about, it all needs to be light, or it needs to be expansive, or you need to do these exercises and come out feeling great. When does change occur? When we feel uncomfortable. It means you've hit a new edge that you were not aware of before. You want to be faced with discomfort or incongruences that are running your life in the background, because then you can take it from subconscious to the conscious. Now that you know that, I would now be going to the journaling prompts and see what comes out when you sit with, I'm going to release the past from my body. And you might realize that since you were 7, something happened and it hasn't been safe for you to feel safe in your body.
Does that mean like, if something had happened or something, how do you overcome that part to get to a place?
Exactly that. Exactly that. So 50% of it is awareness. Right. You weren't aware that you had this incongruence or this limitation. Now you're aware. The second part is you work through the exercises, you work through the journaling. Maybe you realize as you journal, there's even more going on. Maybe at that point, that's when you decide, I'm going to have a session with therapy or a facilitator, or I'm going to really look at this area of my life. I'm, 20, 30, 40, 50 years old. I never realized I had this thing running in the background. Thank you. Any other questions? Online, if you have a question, you can raise your hand. And any other questions in the room? So we wanted time for me to, I've signed quite a few of the books. So hopefully if you've got a book, it's signed. If it's not signed, you can bring it up and I'll sign it for you. And yeah, we've got a few more minutes if you guys have questions, queries before we start getting into the masterclass for those of you that are staying. The masterclass is about aligning with your greatest desires. It's the body whispering take on manifestation, visualization, creating your life. This incongruence piece we've talked about today is a huge component as to why people struggle with manifesting. And visualization is not manifesting. And so there's a lot of misinformation or misinterpretation about how to create, how to manifest. The first part is actually getting aware of and aligned with your greatest desires. And then the second part is creating it. So that's what we'll be going into in the masterclass. Radhika, hopefully that answered your question when I was saying earlier, once you identify an incongruence or an area of your life you need to look at, you can then work through the exercises in the playbook. You can then go and ask another healer, facilitator, or whether you're in a class or you're having a one-off session that, hey, this has come up for me. What can I do to start changing this or healing from this now? Yes.
What's the difference between actualization, visualization, manifestation? How do you do that?
Okay, so the question is, what's the difference between actualization, manifestation, and visualization? Visualization is cognitive, like you're using your mind to envision something. And so we can normally only envision that which we are already aware of or have seen. So we have a reference point for it. Actualization and manifestation are pretty much the same. When most people think of manifesting as actualization. So in mainstream, when you hear about manifesting, they're talking about creating the thing you want, like your new car, your new house, your relationship. That is actualization of the thing you are manifesting. Manifesting is actually more of an energetic component, like you're taking something you're aware of energetically and you're working through the process to bring it into actualization, the physical realm. Go for it.
What if after all this work, once you achieve your goal, and then you end up feeling some sort of inconvenience and so that ends up piling on it, like, oh, I've put all this work, I've worked so hard, and all these burdens, and then
so you create what you wanted and then you realize you didn't want it. Okay. The question is, what if I do all this work, get congruent, create the outcome, and then I realize that's not what I wanted, or I'm still not happy? And that is life. That is life. So what do? You choose again. I didn't like that choice. What else can I do? What else can I create? Okay. That is life. And we've got to remember that we came here for that experience. There is no such thing as being done with your self-development or you've made all the right choices and now you're good. Until the day you die, you still have to make choices, and hopefully you're still making creative choices rather than choices that keep you stuck in this paradigm. Yeah. Thank you. I saw another hand up in the back. Yeah, go for it.
So I was just doing this, and if you are not responsible for anyone else's experiences in life, which I mean I completely understand, but we do end up blaming ourselves and holding ourselves responsible for a lot of things. So what should one write in that, like to kind of get out of that?
The question is, there's one of the pages says you're not responsible for anyone else's experiences in life. And she's saying, even though she understands that cognitively, and this is a great example, we cognitively understand it, we rationally understand it and even believe it, but emotionally and energetically, most of us feel responsible for our family members, our loved ones, our children especially. How can you not feel responsible for your children's experiences? Okay, but this is why it's so important. Again, you've read that affirmation, and if you keep reading it and journaling about it, I'd be journaling in there. And there's a page about family and journaling about family. Okay. We've got, the more we remind ourselves that we're not responsible for someone else's experiences. And what I do, it's slightly different with children, so I'll talk about that in a minute, but with adults especially, I look at them as another adult. So like I took my mom and I was like, okay, if my mom wasn't my mom, she's just an adult living her life and I'm an adult and I'm relating to her on an adult to adult basis. I'm not responsible for her. I care about her. She's also not responsible for me. You need to start, and then even with children and our animals that we can get very possessive over, you've got to give them the right to be the infinite being that they are. They're a spiritual being having their experience here on earth too. How would you possibly be responsible for them? And the part you need to get okay with is releasing that responsibility energetically. It doesn't mean you stop caring about them, doing things for them, or doing what works for you. But again, the question is, how do I go from not believing that to being able to believe it? It's exposure. You go from the concept that you don't believe and you play with it every day in the playbook. Okay, what would my life be like if I didn't feel responsible for my mother, my father, my parent, or my partner, or my children, or the foster kids I look after? Like, this concept here is that you're not responsible for their experiences because they have the right to freedom of choice just as much as you do. And so the more we look at that and the more we go, okay, there's my mother, the adult, making like really crazy choices again. There's my mother functioning from her limitations in life that she doesn't want to look at. Cool. I'm not responsible for making this better for her. That's the experience she's choosing. If you have people that can receive, if you can hold up a blind spot for them and say, hey, like, mom, like your life looks like this because you keep doing that. You can help. Like I said, this doesn't take away your ability to help, to have empathy and to contribute to people. But can you contribute more when you're very vested in the outcome and responsible, or when you're actually able to be neutral and you're willing to help someone from a space of choice and freedom? And that's what we've got to start understanding. For children, it's a very simple.
Yeah, sorry to disturb you, Dr. Rila.
Yes.
This is Aparna here. So asking a question on a similar ground, especially for children, that when they are in that space like learning disabilities and things like that, well, we do respect that it is their own experiences. But as a mother, when we are called to the school about their behavioral issues and things, how can body whispering help them to understand their divinity and for us to hold the space for them?
Yeah, perfect.
Yet me being a responsible parent and taking action for what that needs to be done.
Yeah, well, you can't stop being a parent and you can't stop being responsible and showing up to the school and dealing with problems. That is not what not being responsible means. I'm not talking about practical responsibilities that we have. I have responsibilities to my family, to my husband, to my business. I fulfill those responsibilities. This is about the energetic freedom of, if someone keeps choosing something, if someone keeps doing something, we can't control that. We know we can't control that. Why don't you let go of that angst of trying to control it? That's what this piece is about. And with children, you are absolutely responsible for them until they are whatever age, 18, 21, I don't know what, you know, what's different for each child. But even when they have special needs, as you said, or learning difficulties, you are absolutely able to contribute to them, especially through body whispering, either for yourself and or for the child. So you can do sessions for them, sessions for yourself. What's ringing? Is it here? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we've got to really understand that with children, animals are another one. We feel very responsible for them. The more energetic freedom and space we give them, while also doing the practical components of looking after them, giving them all of the things that they require to make good choices or to change their choices. Again, without needing to control it, that is how we can effect change. Yes, go for it.
But it's not working. So how long do you get wording it correctly or something like that? So is that we think about it or?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
I won't say evidence.
Yeah.
Okay, I tried this all exercises movement other points, but it's not working. I'm going correctly that am I not wording it correctly or I'm not congruent or whatever.
Okay, the question is if I'm trying really hard to create something and it's not happening, if I'm trying to create $5 million and nothing's happening, what do I do? So if you're on your way to creating $5 million, are you at least creating 1,000?
It's not working at the moment.
Okay.
Nothing comes up itself. Then I try the second thing. The argument is so strong at the moment and I'm not even working that at all.
Okay, so on your way to creating $1 million or $5 million, you're going to have to first make $1,000 and $10,000 and $100,000, right? And so the congruence exercise here is what is the incongruence with me even holding or having $1,000 in my account, let alone 5 million? At this point, 5 million is conceptual for you. You don't even know probably what that would look like, feel like, how much money that is, and what your life, how your life changes at that price point. So it begins with, as you said, doing all the exercises in the book. But if you're finding that you've been working for years or months trying to create $1 million or $5 million, okay, where are you at with creating 50,000? Let's start there. Let's start with an amount of money that also you can do some practical things. Like practically, if you're coming back to the congruence exercise, what is even the practical step to make $5 million? Until you've got the foundation to make your first 100,000, you can't imagine that. So the congruence exercise is important. It's also important for you to recognize if your ask is completely incongruent with your ability to physically, physiologically, and energetically have be a match for it.
I might start spending that much money to say that, okay, I need to live that kind of lifestyle. And I spend that much, but I won't be able to create that much at all.
Yeah, we can all spend that much, no problems. But we can all spend $5 million. You could give me half a day, I'm sure I'll have the job done. But again, yeah, how do we create the $5 million? And how do we get out of the fear of not being able to create money, not being able to have income or consistent income or to provide for ourselves? That's a bigger issue. See how you opened a box here, and it's making me say, okay, well, if you're struggling to even bring in income, then what are your beliefs around being able to create money? What are your beliefs coming through about money being available to you, being consistent in your life, being able to believe that money is always available and you can create it and you can receive it? This is what it's making me start to like, those are the questions I'd be asking for myself. Thank you. I just have a couple of questions on the chat. If we choose something but our body chooses something entirely different or opposite, for example, you choose being healthy, but your body chooses to be unwell. What do you do? Can body whispering change the body's choices? Okay, this is a wonderful question, and it's the perfect question to end on. Body whispering talks a lot about healing. The main concept in body whispering is healing. The definition for healing that we use in body whispering is reconciling conflict that is creating pain in your body or in your life. So when you are saying, look, what if I'm choosing to be healthy, but my body keeps getting sick? Well, that is communication from your body. There's something happening in your life or environment or in your body that is trying to get your attention. If you can honestly tell me, again, congruence exercise, if you can honestly tell me you want to be healthy and you're doing the practical components, you're eating well, you're exercising, you're taking vitamins, you're going to whatever practitioners can help you. If you're really telling me your body is still getting sick or staying sick, then something is really going on that you need to look at. So yes, body whispering class and sessions absolutely helps with that, but it helps you also to identify why things are going in the opposite direction to what you say you want. And it reconciles the energy, heals, it reconciles where conflict in your life or in your body had created separation, which creates symptoms or pain, or a lack of the results that you would like to have. Like if you were actually committed, and this is just a question, but if you're actually really committed to creating a healthy body, what things are you doing? Have you tried to, like, are you eating well? Are you listening to what your body needs? Are you doing a cleanse? Are you seeing holistic practitioners that can pick up where you have issues from the past or present? What are you doing to create the thing you say you want to create? And if you're doing everything and then it's still not working, A, I think that's a very different conversation then. And B, yes, absolutely, body whispering helps with that, because we are then identifying the conflict that occurs. We are then identifying the lack of not just congruence, but where you're holding the past trauma, past experiences, past beliefs or other people's beliefs that are creating separation from your body's natural ability to heal and to be healed. Thank you. It's called, Lena sent me a private message saying she wants my diet because I look fab. It's called being in India. But it's also about being in communion with your body and really listening to your body. I've been doing a lot of things, like my body is really well looked after, and I've recently been putting a lot of time and attention into my liver. And if you look at cleaning, clearing, and supporting your liver, your whole body's health actually changes, because the liver, if you don't know, like, go and read about everything the liver controls and contributes to. For women, especially, like your cycles, menstrual health, all of that is also related to the liver, just as an aside. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to take this opportunity to end here. For all of you who are coming in for the masterclass, we're closing this Zoom and opening up the masterclass Zoom now. If you don't have the link for any reason and you've paid for it, please just ping Rashmi, she's online, and we will close the Zoom. Thank you so much, everyone that joined. I really appreciate it. If you would like a hard copy of the book, please contact the local body whispering facilitator in your area or country. We are going to get hard copies out to the facilitators to on sale. And online, you can buy it on Amazon, Kindle, and you can also go onto my website. If you can't download from Amazon in your region, we now have a PDF copy available for you to buy off my website. And anyone that would like to attend the body whispering class, it's happening this weekend on the 14th and 15th, and you can join online or in person. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks, Jen. Thank you. So nice to have so many of you on. Always a pleasure. Take care.
Lots of love.